Hello again, everyone. This is Jim here with another Beating Obesity update. Coming to you between Christmas and New Year's. I hope your holiday season is going well. Mine is. Been having a lot of fun. Today I'm making a video, I'm going to call it In Defense of Extremism, something like that. And I kind of was motivated by an exchange I had on Twitter today. I wanted to extrapolate a little more on that and speak about it because it kind of bothers me, some of the things that are said and some of the I think misconceptions that people have about different dietary approaches that people take. So where I'm going with this, you'll find if you look on social media, different professionals that will speak out. I'm talking about doctors or dietitians or, folks in the industry, let's say, of nutrition. Often you'll hear people kind of decrying against being extreme or, not being balanced. And that you shouldn't, you should follow a certain path and not be too radical with it. This kind of always just grates on me a little bit. I know what they're trying to do. I think they're trying to make it more palatable for newcomers, to not be too confused or not to be overwhelmed with people preaching kind of a dogmatic approach. I'm sympathetic to that. Nobody should come into this and think that you have to follow any dogmatic approach. Like I'll use myself as an example for all of this. I'm not trying to be dogmatic on this channel. I try to relate my story, how I lost weight and how I maintain weight and what my diet is like and how I feel. And I will, from time to time, give my general, a very general higher level opinion about kind of what works for weight loss and for, to me, which is a better nutritional approach. However, I put a big caveat that it's not a one-size-fits-all. It never has been. It never will be. There's room for finding your own way. There has to be. You have to make your own way on all of this. So my lifestyle, number one, is, and has been for some time now, several years, more than 2 years, has been a carnivore, mostly carnivore, whatever you want to call it, 98% carnivore. My normal day is I eat meat, eggs, maybe some pork rinds, a little bit of chocolate, coffee, and some mineral water. That's my life. There are times, and I documented on this channel, where I go off this plan. I've tested myself a few times. I keep it very rare. But I've always, when I do go off my plan, I pay very close attention to the results, what it does to me, what it does to my weight, what it does to my mood, how I feel, etc., etc. And I think the most famous example, well, not famous, it's not famous, but back in August, I went to Italy and I totally went off plan for nearly 5 days. And that was an eye-opener for me. And I learned about myself, and I learned that I kind of want to stick to my lifestyle, which many would say is extreme and unbalanced. And why would they say that? Well, because I have cut out entire food groups, okay? And what this means, I have no idea. But people, oh, you're doing a dangerous thing there, cutting out entire food groups. Well, I don't know, I don't know what the problem is with cutting out entire food groups. Entire food groups mean I cut out processed foods and almost all carbs, packaged foods. Yeah, I don't eat fruit and vegetables. So yeah, maybe that's an entire food group. I don't eat grains, but I feel better than ever. So it works for me to cut out these entire food groups. I eat one meal a day. This, I'm sure many people consider it radical, maybe dangerous, extremist. Wouldn't recommend people do it. Another case where for me, I'm glad to be the extremist because I've never felt better and I can't imagine a different lifestyle now. One meal a day works for me. Well, that's my main areas of where I'm an extremist. Now, like I said, I don't preach this for everybody. It's not going to work for everybody probably. And you may not want to go that extreme, but this is what I do. I guess the whole point of this video is to say, I don't believe you should be intimidated at all if you are going off the mainstream and doing something that people label as extremist. Because I'm going to say, no matter what you're doing, whatever approach you take, whether it's like mine or whether it's something else, you're going to find some person or some group or some professional who's going to say, you're doing it wrong, it's extreme, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just going to say, ignore that and do what works for you. Find out what works, test it, and be comfortable with what works for you, despite what people say. Some of the professionals seem to think that, well, don't make it complicated. Like me, I've tracked my weight. At different times, I've weighed my food, and I'm not actually doing that at the moment so much, but at times I like to do that. I like to study it. And that doesn't mean I'm fixated or I'm making it hard on myself. I'm just trying to learn. My journey, in the beginning, I started making some changes and it started working for me. And then I ended up reaching my goal. Well, then I was really motivated to find out why it worked. Why was I successful after so many years of being unsuccessful? So I've applied myself and I really pay attention to things and I listen to all parties. I've started this channel, talking to people, looking around on social media and just interacting with people. And I feel I've learned a lot. And I, like I said earlier, I have kind of developed some opinions about, in general, what's a better approach. For example, I think a lot depends on where you're at in your journey, in what age you are, how bad your diet has been, and for how long it's been, and how many medical conditions you might have. There's so many confounding factors. That's why I hesitate to come out with blanket statements on what you'd have to do. Because it could be different depending on where you are in your journey. But you might be a person like me that wants to study, make a close study, who likes data, who wants to weigh your food and weigh yourself and monitor all your, you can go as extreme as you want to be. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. If you like being extreme, be extreme. To me, the only dangerous extreme things around are to me, extreme and dangerous is something like severe caloric restriction, persistent caloric restriction, or to me, I think persistent diet that excludes all animal products is extreme and probably gonna take a toll on your health over time. You may not notice it immediately, but I think that's detrimental to health. But and any diet that's kind of relies too much on persistent intake of carbs, sugar, processed foods, seed oils, packaged foods. You do this long enough, and it's going to take its toll on your body. We're just not made to process a lot of sugar every single day, year in, year out. And you're going to wear out your body by doing that. This is, to me, this is my opinion. These are like extreme things that, or maybe unhealthy things, but let me just say, in my journey to get to the point, maybe, I don't know if I'm rambling. I feel like I'm rambling, but my journey was the successes I had were only because I wasn't afraid to be extreme, to kind of walk out there a little bit on the plank and be different than the guidelines, to kind of ignore guidelines, ignore the conventional wisdom, and do things a little different, do some fasting, eat once a day, restrict my diet, restrict food groups, put on restrictions. And lo and behold, yeah, I'm happy with a lot of those restrictions. As I said earlier, I'm living a lifestyle now that feels great. I feel better than ever. I'm healthy, I'm fit. And it's pretty much I prefer to have this restricted lifestyle. Call it extreme, call it unbalanced, call it, whatever you want. And I have tested myself. What motivated me to make this video today, there were some comments on Twitter that, don't be dogmatic about restricting carbs. And I just want to say that fine if that works for you. If you can be balanced, if you can have 50 to 100, 150 grams of carbs per day, if you can live with that, that's great. Do it. You can be healthy on that. But for me, and the people that I see that are trying to claw back and regain their health and lose weight, they're typically people that have abused carbs like I did for years. And so going the route of moderate carbs is it's hard, because it's hard to walk the line and just have, occasional or daily, have like 50 grams of carbs a day. It allows so much that it's really very tricky. And I can say that because I have allowed myself to freely partake and explore, what it's like to go back into a little bit of a carb lifestyle for a few days. And I'll tell you what, I kind of regretted it. And I didn't feel comfortable. And it was no prize. It was nothing like I was excited about. And in fact, it made me realize that I'm not missing anything. I'm not missing out on the balanced lifestyle. I'm not missing the sugar, the processed foods. And, this is kind of a theme of many of my videos, that you can enjoy life even without that stuff. That's not defining a joyous life, so. So I say, don't let people push you into categorizing you as extremist or being dogmatic. It doesn't mean you're being dogmatic just because you want to kind of limit your diet, cut out food groups, or watch things real closely, keep low carb, or whatever you want to do. It's going to look extreme to somebody, but don't let that stop you. Find out what works for you. That's my main message. You're going to hear, and I'm not a professional. I don't have I'm not a doctor. I'm not a dietitian. I'm just a guy. but I'm a guy who's walked the walk, okay, and been on both sides of the fence. I've been completely messed up with my diet and my lifestyle, and now I'm way over on the other side where I clawed myself back to some semblance of health now, and some kind of a lifestyle that feels great. And that's why I'm here talking about it, because just to let everyone know that it is possible. But I had to put some limitations on myself. That I'm sorry if some people think it's extreme. It worked. It worked for me, and I'm not going to feel bad about that or apologize for it. Whether somebody, a professional, thinks it's wrong or whatever, I don't care. And I encourage you, anybody out there that kind of feels like, well, I'm doing this and it feels good, but Dr. So-and-so said that this is wrong. I hate to say it, but screw the doctor. If it's working for you, do it, and feel good about yourself. Feel good about what you're doing. And, if you stop feeling good or if something's going wrong, then by all means change and listen to other voices. But it's not always the doctors out there and the dietitians dispensing good advice. I think that should be abundantly clear by now. There's so much bad information. So, and including from me. I mean, I don't claim to know what everyone should do. And I've stated that before and I'll state it again. But that's my opinion. Yeah, I don't know where else to go with this other than, keep an open mind. One size does not fit all. Don't be afraid to be different than the crowd, different than your immediate crowd, in your family or in your sphere of coworkers or friends. Sometimes you have to march to the beat of a different drummer, and that's fine. Be proud of that. Take care of yourself. I feel I've done that, and I've lived that way. I'm living that way now, and I draw strength from it. And especially because I notice that people kind of follow along, and many people say, "Hey, I'm gonna do that too. I'm gonna make a change," and that inspires me when people say, "You inspired me to make a change, and I'm making a change, and I'm improving my life." That's what we need to do. So I think I'm gonna leave it at that. I was gonna go into the whole idea about New Year's resolutions, but I'll probably save that for another day, maybe closer to New Year's. Yeah, that's it. Like I said, I hope everyone is enjoying the holiday season. I've had some time off of work, and it's been great. Having some fun and enjoying life. So until next time, everyone, until the next video, take care and see you soon. Bye.